I didn't know you were here yet.
Those are our reactions to when we see women.
Howdy roundabout, all you shaggy goose egg boys, and welcome to Al Pacino's Prison Scene, the podcast where we, three objectively dumb students, we look at movies that are objectively not smart.
Is that on autofocus?
No, I turned it off.
Wait, why did you turn it off on autofocus?
Because I made it focus.
Okay.
I put the focus right
All
here.
Well, as long as it's
Okay.
focused. Are you focused? You guys focusing?
You listening?
You better focus, because this is a good episode.
Did
This
you
is
check
gonna
focus?
I honest to God didn't because I assumed it was on auto. I'll check.
This is
Yeah,
really
it's on
entertaining.
autofocus.
It is?
Yeah, I just changed to my face.
Oh. I
On
could.
Jake, on me. On Jake, on me.
All right. Well, we should have checked that shit before we started rolling.
No, it's all good.
Here, here. And you know what else they should have checked? To see if that cabin was safe, and they didn't.
Cabin in the Woods is a movie.
Cabin in the Woods today.
Evil Dead Shmoo.
Evil Dead 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Booga You.
Evil Shrek 2,
Boogeyman.
the final chapter.
Anyway, yeah, that's the one we're doing today. I actually watched the second one in film club back when that was a thing. First.
I guess it was.
Were you guys there
Yeah,
on the
we were
same
there
day?
the same day.
Look at that.
Before you knew each other.
Before we knew each other.
Well,
wow.
That's
No,
amazing
we
you
knew
didn't
each other.
remember
This was
Jake.
technically our first date. Was this movie?
It was. And I
Even-
remember taking him out back and giving him a real good spanking because he was a real bad boy. But yeah, and then I went back and watched the first one. And I'll be honest, I do not remember anything about the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, I never watched the first one.
At all? You still haven't?
No. Which I hear that, like, everything from the first one that is still canon is kind of recapped at the beginning of the second movie.
Yeah, so there's an interesting story as to why that is.
Okay.
Essentially,
I know this too.
Sam Raimi, yeah, because I told you, Sam Raimi could not get the rights to the first film,
How come?
to the story of it. I don't know the specifics on that. When you're doing the recap, I'm going to see if I can find specifically why that is. But yeah, he wasn't able to get... It may have been distribution rights, something like that, to use that at the beginning of the film to show like what happened, since this is like day 2 of being at that cabin. And so he had to reshoot the entire thing. Well, not the entire thing, but like he had to reshoot that whole
Just
sequence because none of that was in
yeah.
the original film.
Yeah, there's a lot of production history, specifically with the production
Bro, what
of
the
this film.
fuck is your problem? We're doing a podcast.
Well, I'm doing laundry.
Can I see him?
I don't know.
There. Oh, is that? He's still there. There he is. Our
What are we
whole
talking
set just
about,
shaking.
fellas?
Just put it in a pretty
We're
face.
doing the.
of
We're talking about
Nate-
the production of Evil
Nate's
Dead 2,
face.
and that's kind of
Pretty
crazy.
picture of Nate's face.
Well, what did I miss?
You say that, but then on the
Only
one that
4
you
minutes.
edited, every time you mentioned
Only
that,
4
none of
minutes.
it was put in.
I know.
The only one I've really seen all the way through was Army of Darkness.
See, that's the only one I haven't seen.
I saw the new one with Dave Bautista.
I did like how they
Yeah?
Oh, yeah,
hinted
that is
to it in the middle of this movie.
Say that again.
They hinted to the third one in the middle of this movie.
And
I know
at
the
the
end.
very
I know
end.
the end too, but
As in
like
the final
but
shot.
I
Yeah.
like the hint that they
Yeah.
used.
Yeah.
I do know that tonally, the third movie is entirely different from the first two. Like, it focuses more on the horror elements a lot
Really?
in the first and second one, and then
Which
the
I do
third
wanna-
one,
It looks
It's
crazy.
more-
it's a
yeah.
comedy basically.
I do want to talk about that though. So you can hang around or not. Let's go ahead and hop into the recap.
All right.
Just so we can get that done, and then we can talk more about
Yeah.
everything wild with it. Everything wildwood with it.
Chris goes up. Wildwood.
Wildwood alcohol?
You guys,
All
I
right.
was actually kind of thinking about going to Wildwood after this.
All right.
All right, recap time. All right. Evil Dead 2 starts out with Ash Ketchum and his beloved
Ash Ketchum.
yeah, and his beloved girlfriend in a cabin in the woods,
Because you can't see.
and they're
You can see it like from down here.
That's fine.
Yeah. All right.
No, I always love it when you guys like immediately
the
start
idea
having
is
other
that
conversations.
you keep going while we're doing
Yeah,
this.
I can't do that.
All right, so now you're
And I've
distracting
told you
yourself.
this.
You're distracting yourself now.
Not to mention that, but nobody wants to listen to two different conversations
Yeah.
on the same podcast.
Yeah,
not?
so maybe I should just stop doing the recap
I'll-
and have you say whatever you want to say.
I'll
you know?
cover it right here. Now they can't hear me. See? Look, they actually can't. Look at that. You see that? You can't do it.
Not a peep. All right, go on.
All right, Ash and his girlfriend are in a cabin in the woods, and they're having a romantic time, and all of a sudden, his girlfriend goes in the other room to get naked, and he, it's an abandoned cabin, by the way, they just found. I assume they just found it. And, he, like, sees this little, like, tape recorder, and, Ash is, curious, he plays it. And it's the log of this like scientist or archaeologist who like owned the cabin. And he starts talking about this book that he found in one of his like excavations or however you say that. Excavations. And it's the Necronomicon, Ex Mortis. Yeah. It's the Book of the Dead. And he said that he translated it. And now some evil things are happening. And just before Ash listens to the rest of it, his girlfriend becomes dead zombie person and tries to kill him. And he's forced to decapitate her, chop her head off. And after that, there's like a little spirit thing in the woods that's like zooming into the house and looking for Ash, and then it like takes him out of the cabin and then like throws him against a tree, and then he falls in a puddle and he dies, and he comes back and he's like undead, but then the thing leaves him when he sees the sun. And so he's got like this undead spirit thing in him, but it only comes out when he's in the dark, kind of. It comes in and out of him, like, periodically. That's hot. That's hot. Huh?
No, it's cold because it's nighttime.
Yeah.
What's the policy for swearing in this?
Fuck!
Okay.
See, it's funny
Swearing.
because Chris is always like, my parents watch this, don't cuss.
Oh, I showed my parents a snippet of the Tenacious D one, and they looked very disappointed in me.
Hey, Chris's parents.
That was also before they
This
watched
is his
it.
dream. How dare you not support him?
No, it was when I accidentally
when you edit that, put a picture of Peter Griffin's
I
face.
I accidentally skipped right onto the part where you say that if you rearrange the letters in Jack Black, you get Jesus Christ.
Hey,
And my mom did not find
look,
that amusing.
all I'm saying is, have you ever seen Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, and Jack Black, our Lord and Savior,
In the same room.
All right. Anyway.
Nate?
I certainly haven't seen them in the same room.
All right. There you
Okay.
go. Now, you can't say it's not true.
So Ash tries to make his way back to the cabin, but the bridge to the cabin is like destroyed, and so he goes back to the cabin, and then his girlfriend like comes back to life, even though she's decapitated.
This weird
and-
claymation.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like her decapitated body attacks him, and so he has to like take a chainsaw and like cut her up, and then he has to like put her head on like a C-clamp and then like cut her head up, and then he starts going a little crazy because all the things in the house start coming to life and talking to him, and then they start laughing, and then he starts laughing,
And it's like the best shot in the movie when he does like that turn on the wide angle lens.
and his
Yeah.
face is
Yeah,
like...
it's like
this movie
dude.
is visually like insane.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It reminded me a lot of Cranked, the way that's filmed. Have you guys ever seen that?
Is that the one where he has to keep his adrenaline up?
He has to keep his heart rate above a certain amount.
Yeah,
or
and he has
die.
sex with a girl like out in public just to
But it's like
Crank?
Jason Statham,
Crank?
I think.
Cranked. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never knew what that movie was about. He has to keep his
Crank.
There's a
adrenaline.
second one.
Yeah, but it's different.
But is it kind of shot that way? Where it's just like,
It's very guerrilla styled, yeah.
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 I like that kind of.
There's a lot of
cinematography.
weird like.
I don't like it when it comes
zooms
to
and-
like action scenes because I feel like
It's disorienting.
Well, not only is it disorienting, but it's also lazy cinematography because they could make the fight scenes very amateurish and unchoreographed, but the audience wouldn't be able to tell because it's
so
ripping
sped
around.
up.
See, I don't think that's on the cinematographer. I think that's on because if you look at Taken, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Taken, it's all filmed like that. It's because Liam Neeson was like 60 and he couldn't do that stuff. So I don't think that was necessarily on the cinematographer. I think that was just on who the actors are. Now they've gotten better.
There's a scene in Taken wherein
it's fine.
you can very clearly tell that it's a stunt driver driving Liam Neeson's car. It's like they don't even try to hide it. I don't know. I feel like
he was like a black guy.
Well, yeah, it was somebody who looked clearly nothing like him.
Yeah.
Which, funnily enough, there's a couple production things about Evil Dead that are similar to that. But go ahead with this.
All right. So while Ash is like going insane, we see the daughter of the person who owned that house. She is heading there with like her partner or boyfriend, and but they can't make it there because the bridge is broken down, and so they meet two locals. What are their names?
Bobby Joe and
Bobby Joe is the girl.
Yeah.
Jolene.
And
Jolene.
All
Probably
right.
something crazy like Rutherford.
Jake. It's Jake and Bobby Joe. So yeah, it is a crazy name.
You look just like him.
Anyway, so there are these four people outside of the cabin who are trying to get into the cabin, and so they make a deal to go there together. And when they're approaching the cabin, Ash is in there and he hears people coming into the cabin. He's like, "Oh no, it's probably the evil spirit!" And so he like wildly shoots at the. Wait a minute, has he cut his hand off at this point?
His hand's bent. No.
Or has his hand been?
He
hurt?
cuts his hand off right before they show up.
Yeah,
remember?
okay.
'Cause he was shooting at it.
His hand gets bit by his girlfriend before he has to mash his girlfriend's face in.
Yeah.
And so the hand gets infected with the dead stuff, and it just becomes a demon. And so he has to like cut it off with a chainsaw. And this whole time, as like things have been yelling at him, he's been trying to shoot the hand, and
the hand goes.
yeah, fuck you. And so so you could imagine these four people come into the cabin. He's like, "Oh no, that's another evil thing!" Bam, and he like nicks Bobby Joe in the arm. And they like bust in. They're like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing here?" They think that Ash is a murderer, and so they like throw him in the fruit cellar and lock him.
The fruit cellar?
Yeah.
Yummy, yummy.
Yummy. Fruit cellar. Yummy. So they lock him in the fruit cellar, and then Annie is the name of the professor. She's like the second main character at this point. She is like, "Oh no, this place is abandoned, but all my father's stuff is here, including this tape recorder." Boop. And so we listen to the rest of the tape by her father, where he says that the thing that he like that he translated from the book made his wife like possessed, and then he had to kill her and then buried her in the fruit cellar.
Yummy, yummy.
And all of a sudden, we hear a lot of noises from the fruit cellar because Henrietta, her mother, the professor's wife, comes out and tries to eat Ash because he's in the fruit cellar.
She eats Ash.
And so Ash is like, "Hey, let me out." And so Jake, lets him out. And then they have to, keep Henrietta down there and lock her up. And I'm kind of at a loss at what happens in the.
All right,
help me out.
They pull Ash out of there, like he's like, "Hey, there's shit down here." They pull him out, and then Henrietta's like, "Rah!" like that, and then he gets. Does he have a chainsaw? Is that how he gets her?
Yeah,
because he cuts like off her like body parts and shit, and then after that, then they believe him, and I'm pretty sure
it might have been the hatchet.
Yeah, I think
it was the hatchet
because
And so now they believe him, and then
Bobby Joe runs out.
Yeah, Bobby Joe leaves, and And so they're like, oh no, we need to figure out how to stop this. Also, Henrietta took the form of like her like live self to kind of seduce her daughter into letting her out.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if seduce is the right word,
No.
but
yeah,
persuade
yeah.
Persuade her
Be like,
daughter.
look, I'm real. Come closer.
Yeah, and Ash is like, no. And I was actually surprised that Annie had the smarts to say,
Yeah,
she goes,
she goes, oh wait, no, you're right.
Because in most horror films, they don't.
Yeah.
They fall for that.
Yeah. They do in the first one.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, Bobby Joe runs out, and they're like, okay, we need to listen to the rest of the tape to see how we can stop this. And so the professor says that there is a translation in the book that can, like, bring that, like, evil spirit back to where it came.
Yeah.
And so they need to figure out how to translate that. But then Jake comes out of nowhere is like, no, I want Bobby Joe. And then they're like, well, Bobby Joe's probably dead. And so he's like, nah. And he takes the book and then throws it in the fruit cellar and then points a gun at him and is like, we need to go find my girlfriend. And so they go to find his girlfriend. Help me out. Real quick.
So he's like, Bobby Joe! Bobby Joe! And basically, I'm pretty sure she's already dead at that point. And anyways, he gets...
She was taken in by the forest.
Yeah. And he... what's his name? Jake? Yeah, Jake gets attacked, and then Ash gets possessed.
Yeah, and then attacks Annie.
Yeah, and
so
Annie's
Annie
the
has to
only one
fight
who's not possessed at this point.
Ash off. And
possessed
then
her dead.
I think Ash, like, almost kills Annie.
Yeah, well, yeah, he, like, throws her, like, against... So, Oh, no. That's right, because Jake got stabbed, and Annie's trying to, like, save him from Ash.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm remembering.
And it's an important... it comes in, like, later films, I think.
Yeah, it's like the sword, like, bone sword, whatever.
Yeah.
It came with the Necronomicon,
Bone sword is ready.
Bone sword is ready.
What is that from?
Spider-Man 1.
Oh, yeah.
But it's Bonesaw.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, fake fan.
Sam Raimi.
That's the joke.
Yes.
Big fan.
Reference. Yeah. So, but, anyways, like, Ash is attacking her, and then he sees, like, the locket that he gave his girlfriend, which they show in the recap.
Okay.
And that was important in the first one as well.
I was confused. With
Yeah. That locket, he saw it, and then he's like...
And so he goes back to normal,
Yeah.
and then Annie, like, regains consciousness and tries to kill him, but then he's like, no,
like, I'm fine.
I'm fine, I'm all right. And so they're like, okay, well, we need to figure out how to kill my dead mom. And so dead mom comes out of the cellar, and she's like, a boss at this point. And Ash, like they fight and all, and Ash takes a chainsaw and then attaches it to his nub arm. So now he's got a chainsaw arm, which
He's
is
got that, and he's got a
sawed-off
shotgun. And he's got straps
But he goes
on
good.
his
It's badass.
And the way that the saw starts is that it's got like a little attachment thing there for you to pull, so you just
yeah. So he cuts off the limbs and the neck and everything.
Yeah.
And blasts her head off, and then they read the Necronomicon, and to suck the evil spirit back into the hole, but Ash gets sucked into the hole as well.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
When they're reading from the Necronomicon, then that spirit, that demon thing, comes out in full force in like a semi-physical like form, like of the forest and everything. And Ash looks at it, and he ages, like his hair grays and stuff. And he's like, "Don't look at it." And she's in the middle of reading it, and then the girl gets stabbed in like the back by that bone sword.
Bone sword.
And then so in the middle of it, like the portal, appears and everything and starts sucking everything through, but like it's not working because she didn't finish it. And then right before she dies, she's like, speaking Sumerian, and then that's when everything gets sucked out, including Ash.
And he is now in the 13th century, and I forgot. They mentioned that there was a hero.
The 14th century.
Oh, it's the 14th century.
It's 1300.
I thought they said 13th century.
No, 1300, but the 14th century.
Okay. I thought it was 1300.
Because like right now we're in the 21st century.
Okay. Anyway, it's the 14th century, and he.
It's 15th, but you know.
He is.
It's actually the 20th.
Yeah.
He is taking the place of like that picture in the Necronomicon where it said that there was a hero who destroyed. What?
I'll tell you later.
I
just thought of a funny movie.
Who destroyed the darkness once.
Yeah.
So now he's here to destroy the darkness in the 14th century, and that is where we go into Army of Darkness. But we're not going into it in this
Not
podcast.
today.
Nope.
Not today.
Not today.
We're back. See how I did that?
Yeah.
Dude, where to begin? Honestly, okay, heads up, apologies if this just turns into an Evil Dead 2 Stan podcast, because
I'm going to make it a San Raimi Stan podcast because I love him.
this film is phenomenal.
Will you marry Sam Raimi?
Have you heard him talk?
No.
Pull up like an interview of him. He has like the softest voice I've ever heard. It's smooth like butter. Like
Not in the way that Casablanca is a good film, which I don't like that movie.
I do.
Well, you're stupid.
I wasn't a huge fan of that.
I like it. I don't know. It's just
I don't
something
think it was
about it.
bad. I don't think it was bad.
It's just something about it.
I
can't
feel
put
the
a-
opposite way.
I can't put a finger on
Something
it.
about it. Anyway,
Let me see.
but
Yeah, continue. What were you saying?
but yeah, this movie just is so like this. The process of how this film was made is phenomenal,
Kyle.
but also just like how much fun these guys had in making the film, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was almost like this passion project almost, where like he poured his heart and soul into it and made something that he loved, you know, and that so many people have loved. Where something like Casablanca was just like
as possible, so that the audience believed that they could believe in this hero, in this man, and
Listen to that,
was
man.
really my guide all the way through the performance pieces. And as far as the effects, it wasn't
That
top-notch,
voice pop.
but I just worked with a great effects team and tried to make them in the same realistic tone that the rest of the movie was existing in.
So it wasn't.
you know
Anyways,
what
that was him on Spider-Man. But
you know what that is?
What?
That is man voice.
Yeah.
Like take a video game and like you have like the male and female voice if it's your own character creation. That is the male voice.
Dude, I like his voice, man. Like because I've listened to like the bonus features on like all the Spider-Man movies, specifically his pieces of creation. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I think he's a really talented filmmaker, and you were saying about the filming of it. When they were filming the first one, apparently he worked himself to death so hard that he actually passed out on set.
He was only 23 on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, in the way that they actually did it is he, Bruce Campbell, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I want to say Robert Kirkman, but I don't think that's right. But those three, I don't think that's right. But that was just the first name that came to mind. But it's the producer on Evil Dead, whoever that is. But the three of them, when they were, Bruce Campbell was 18, I believe he was 20, and the other guy was like 23 or something. They bought suits and they went to investors and they said, we have a little short film thing. It's called like Something in the Woods or something like that. And it was like a really low budget version of Evil Dead, and they basically showed it to them and they were like, this is what we can do, give us money. And so they had to get their, investments from just producing it themselves. And then they, got the money. They shot Evil Dead. They had to break for a couple months because they ran out of money. And then they came back and they finished it up. And Sam was working like 12-hour shoot days, plus writing the script at night. And then he would be completely exhausted, but he still fucking did it. Had some of the most impressive shots at the time. Had just a real campy style that's unmatched by anybody but Sam Raimi. And it came out and it became a pretty big success. And then when he made the second one, it was even more so a success, and those movies are the reason why we got Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
So it's interesting. Nate said well, somebody said it, the first two were more horror, and the third one was comedy. And honestly, this film does not feel like a horror film at all.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it has some, like, elements that are horror, but yeah. And even the first one, too.
I watched an interview with Guillermo del Toro and Tarantino talking about this film. And what they were talking about was basically the stylistically, this combined, like, the sort of slasher genre, as well as a lot of inspiration from the Three Stooges, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, just that concept.
Because it is wildly absurd. Like the two massive blood scenes, the claymation dancing, the hand that like flicks him off like as it's running away.
All the reverse shots too of like the smoke and the blood.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's and the same year, Raising Arizona came out, which is one of the Coen brothers' first film, and the cinematography in that is very similar.
Yeah,
What they
Did you say Raising Arizona?
Yeah. The Coen brothers created created it was just like this little, it was these wooden planks.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Screwed together to like where you could like have it low on the ground and still hold it, like kind of like this. Yeah. And they like ran with it. And it was like this weird, like really erratic tracking shot. And it's interesting though that at the same time,
that's like
same
the signature
year,
shot.
Right? It's there. They both have this style.
And you know how they did those like running like through the forest shots like that?
Yeah.
That's on a motorcycle.
See, that makes
not know
sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they messed with like the frame rate possibly so that
I'm sure.
But
I'm sure.
yeah. And so like when he's like in the recap where it shows it like going through the house and the doors bursting open, there's just people pulling the doors as soon as he comes through and everything like that. It's dude.
Yeah,
it's
I got a lot of
crazy.
Raising Arizona vibes from like those kinds of shots too. Like even like when they were like going through the hallway, I was thinking like they had to use like the board.
Yeah,
that
but
you were talking about.
It's crazy though that these innovations, specifically this type of cinematography, came out in the same year with two completely different films.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder if there's like if there was some overlap in like ideas or like, because just because it came out the same year doesn't mean they shot the same year.
Right.
So it's like maybe they were like, one of them did it first. Maybe it was Coen Brothers. Maybe it was Raimi, and then they were like, oh, they hear about it. Like like film people hear about it. And they're like, oh, what if we did something like that? Yeah.
Well, even like in those shots you're talking about in Raising Arizona, it was also like shot in reverse too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the whole like going over the car and then up the ladder and into the
But no, I mean it's dude, this movie is so special because again, and I keep harboring back to it, but like that shot where it's just going through and it's like the and it's going through the doors and stuff. That shot led into the most famous like Spider-Man shots where the camera, they invented a camera that swung between the cars. So that on those shots where you see Spider-Man swinging between the cars, think Spider-Man 2 when he jumps through the semi-truck or the semi-trailer. Like that's just a camera going down at like a 30th the speed and everybody driving at 30th the speed, shooting at 30th frame rates. And then, they speed it up to normal. But that, they wouldn't have got there without Raimi's, through there.
Yeah.
And maybe since I'm editing this, so I'm going to put those in there so that we can see it. Because I'm so excited to talk about this.
We are talking about
I know. I've been saying this all day, though.
Another interesting thing. So what they called the presence was the Force, which is interesting. But the sound that they used for the Force was a combination of a couple samples from other movies. I don't remember exactly which ones, but also Sam Raimi's voice just going like, ah.
Oh, really?
And then they distorted it, yeah.
Really?
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's
Dude,
really cool.
it's crazy, man.
And also, like, half of, if not most of, if not all of, like, the scenes or the shots where it's, like, just hands or, you know, something like that, it's actually not even the actor.
Yeah.
And there's, like, a couple scenes where actors had gone and it was new actors with, like, the creatures, whatever you want to call them, the devils, demons, whatever. And then during the beginning, when they're driving the car, it's actually Sam. It's like the shot from above.
Yeah.
And they're driving this way. It's actually Sam Raimi is the girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's really funny.
So yeah, but there's just a lot of things like that. They're just kind of goofy that make the film even funnier, even better.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, and I said it earlier, it's kind of a like guerrilla style like shooting.
Right.
Where it's just like, you're just like, boom, we're getting this. I don't care, like, you know, I don't care if we have the right actors. I don't care if we have the right stuff. We're going to get it, and it's going to look good. And you're just going at it like full stop, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've worked on sets before, like nothing like, you know, feature length or anything. We've worked on sets before where some of them have been, I would say, more so that guerrilla style.
Like mine? Notorious 3?
Yeah, Notorious 3 was certainly guerrilla style, which that will be out by the time this is out.
Soon.
So
hopefully.
Maybe. But yeah, there's that, and then there's scenes like the set that we were on Friday where it's like you take like half an hour to set up and then another 5 or 6 minutes to like talk to your actors, and then you shoot it
for
like,
30 seconds.
Yeah, for like 3 takes, and then you move on for another half hour setup, you know, things like that. It's just that there are different types of filmmaking, and and I'm not saying either one's wrong, obviously, because there are movies that don't utilize guerrilla filmmaking and are fantastic. I mean, for one, any of the Spider-Man Sam Raimi movies, like they didn't film it that way. It was a more I hate to say professional set, but it was a more studio set, right. I guess I would say. But yeah, I just think
they have the time to and the budget.
Oh yeah,
to do
well that too, obviously.
Which, you know, is an interesting kind of way that filmmaking develops. Is it really is creative restraints that create like these things. Like they had the budget for this film was $3.5 million, which, if you look at a lot of like blockbusters, the budget on those is
not even look up the budget for the first Friday the 13th, because I would say that's similar in scope. Now I know it has more actors and stuff, but I would say that's pretty similar. It's around the same time.
Well, Raising Arizona had a budget of $6 million.
Yeah, so already just almost double.
Yeah, and not even nearly anywhere near the effects.
Right. But
Friday the 13th budget? No, $700,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually pretty kind of impressive. But that's the second. What's it called? That's the second Evil Dead. Like the first one, that was after there was already success.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at like the first budget,
30. It was like 300 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, 350,000.
Yeah. So it's like half of what Friday the 13th had, and that's really in filmmaking terms that's nothing. Like that's nothing. You go through that like that.
Like, yeah. What's really? I mean. Even with the second one, which I would assume it would cost a lot more back then, but like, it wasn't anything too big. It was all mostly just one location. It was all practical effects.
Yeah.
Of course, that costs a lot of money.
Chris.
What?
You were talking like this.
You adjusted the game. You go. Of course, there's.
Sorry.
No. Well, don't mumble now.
Oh no.
We're good. Still
Hello?
recording?
Hello? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Oh no. I'm gonna stop playing with that.
Okay.
You're not even gonna hear that on the camera audio, but so I do have a few things to talk about that aren't just like filmmaking things. I think this is. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask. I know that there was like a reboot in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they would do that. Why would you do that?
How have you seen it?
I saw it years and years ago before I even saw the original because it was just like a thing on Netflix.
Does Sam Raimi have anything to do with it?
I don't think. I mean, he may have been like an executive producer or something,
But stylistically, it's completely different.
Was
It's
it-
like this, like flat,
it's like an actual horror movie
Okay.
that keeps those characters. But even then, like Bruce Campbell, I think shows up at the very end, like in a post-credit scene. But that's it.
But now the TV series, that's
I've
like
heard of that.
directly connected,
Ash versus
and it
Evil Dead.
is it is Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, so I can't speak to that. But, so anyways, yeah, things that I thought were kind of interesting that I wanted to talk about is why do scary things come out at night? Because in this movie, like the sun sets, like when the sun goes up, and he even says it at the beginning, like the sun's up, I'm safe, or something like that. Then as soon as the sun sets, which it prematurely does in this movie, that's when everything comes back. And I think that's interesting as to why that may be. Why is it that in total darkness, these evil monsters lurk?
So, I mean, the easiest answer is that the light represents life and the darkness represents death.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most simple answer.
Yeah.
But did you have a different answer?
I have more answers because I think that this is multi-dimensional, and I think on one dimension that's true. And there are lots of things that showcase that, even like most literature uses stuff like that. I mean, wow. Anyways, but I mean that's why like most big battles in like superhero movies, generally speaking, they take place at night so that the resolution can take place during the day. That's the darkest night, and then you come back up, right? And I'm saying most, but it's just a lot. I wouldn't even classify most, but it's a common theme. I think it has something to do with specifically with the unknown.
Yeah.
And because like and that's why, and I've talked about this before with you guys, maybe even on here, where it's like when you venture outside the walls of your city and you go into the forest is that unknown element. That's why scary things always happen in forests and stuff like that. It's because there's everything in the world is trying to kill you at that point. Like nature, listen, people who are hippies, nature is not benevolent. Nature is always trying to kill you. Every aspect of nature is trying to kill you, except for the very, very few things that you can kill. Anyways, I don't like hippies. So, anyways, I think it's about the you have like this unknown element, and when you're working in the unknown, every possibility exists except for that which you know, and you know very little.
Yeah.
Because you don't know everything, obviously.
Well,
and the world is, well, you're not 20, so yeah. And the world is vastly complicated, more so than you could ever possibly hope to understand. And so the unknown always represents everything beyond your immediate horizon of knowledge, right? And that's why, supernatural things can happen in the dark, is because the dark is what you don't know. You can't see anything in there. That's what it kind of represents. And that's why demons and ghosts always appear at night and stuff like that, is because, again, it's things that you do not know. And so therefore every possibility exists, even the most terrifying ones.
Even the most wildly absurd, like your girlfriend getting possessed and
dancing around,
having to kill her, and
yeah.
Which I do want to talk about her.
Sure.
Yeah, we said this before we started, but like this, I think this film has a bit of a harder overall theme to pin down. But I feel like it's somewhat of a take on like a morality tale, at least in some sense. Specifically with the action of him killing his girlfriend. That necessity. Because she is only possessed. Right? She is not necessarily dead until Ash kills her.
Yeah.
And they say that she's possessed, which is not death.
Yeah.
And
Ash is possessed later and still comes back.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ash kills her. And then his girlfriend comes back and haunts him. And then he has to kill her Again.
Yeah.
And then the hand which he killed her with becomes possessed. Mm-hmm. And he has to get rid of that.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that.
So it's almost like this. Ash knows what he has done is wrong. Mm-hmm. And that comes back to haunt him. And he still, even then, when she comes back as the head, even then tries to get rid of that. Mm-hmm. But then, once the hand attacks him, there's a Bible verse about that.
About the hand?
Yeah. I'm gonna keep talking about this, but I want to look this up. But then, finally, Ash comes to this symbolic, metaphorical thing where he has to cut off his hand. He has to cut off the part of him that committed this heinous crime.
He had to enact Sharia law.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, but I mean,
yeah,
legitimately, yeah. Like he had to get rid of the part of him
that was bad.
That was bad.
Yeah,
and then replace that with a chainsaw.
Yeah, well, to upgrade essentially, which I think it's kind of interesting, the idea of possession, right? Because what are you doing?
Sorry.
Texting some.
No,
dumb...
I'm talking to Zach.
Oh, here we go.
About the shoot tonight.
Oh, okay.
Got it. Keep talking.
Okay.
Fucking abuse me like that again.
Sorry. I think possession is kind of an interesting topic because, believe it or not, we in the modern day still believe in possession. And I don't just mean possession by demons or ghosts. I mean, think of all the times you've said or seen somebody be like, oh man, I got really angry and I just lost all control. What the hell do you mean you lost all control? You're not in control of your own body? Well, yeah, you are, but it's a figure of speech. Well, why do we have that figure of speech? Because in a sense, we actually do lose control. I mean, there are times when we're angry and we yell at people and we say things that we don't mean to say, even though we have full control.
I was just talking to you about this last night.
Over our ability to speak. And I think that's interesting because there are ancient, like, mythological stories about gods taking over, like, the consciousness of people, right? Like, it was common to be like, if you were thirsting for war, you'd be like, Ares has possessed you, right? If you were in the Greek, tradition. It's like, what does that mean? It means the spirit of war has possessed you, meaning your anger has overtaken your rationale, right? And I think that's interesting. And it's unclear if we actually believe anything different today. We just don't associate it with gods. We just say it's our emotions. Are you not in control of your emotions? Well, no. Well, then how can you be an autonomous person? Well, because I can make decisions. So you can make decisions to ignore your emotions. Yeah, so how can your emotions take over you? It's a circular reasoning.
Well, yes, and so Matthew 5:30, it says, "And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body."
It is his right hand.
It is his right hand. Mm-hmm. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell.
Yeah,
that's the New International Version.
Yeah, and that's also the idea that I'm sure we've talked about on one of these past ones, where again you have to give up a part of yourself for the betterment. It's sacrificing, literally.
Well, and the idea that you're talking about right now, the idea that, like, you can ignore your emotions. It is kind of casting out, at least in that moment, casting out, getting rid of your emotional response in order to not create the situation worse.
Right, and I'm not saying ignore your emotions in like a detrimental sense. I'm saying when emotions arise to the point to where they could cause great harm, not only to yourself but to another person. I don't just mean physically. I mean there is a way that your rationality should take over and say, is this really worth, losing control over? And I think losing control is like, I don't like it, to say the least. Like, just the concept of it, not being in control of myself. I hate that. And so if I don't like the idea of not having control of myself, then I can never make the excuse that I was not in control of my actions, meaning everything I do, I am in direct control of, for good or worse. Oftentimes for worse, but... I
agree. And to that, I would say, does Ash cutting off his hand absolve him of that sin, of that crime.
I don't think it absolves him of the sin. I think it's a metaphorical act of putting that part away.
Yeah.
And it's sin, because like when you repent for like your sins in the Christian context, it's not that your past sins are absolved. It's, I mean, sure, in part it is, but it's not that the past sins don't matter anymore. It's that you have decided to turn from them and never do them again. Because that's what repenting is. Repenting isn't forgiveness. Repenting is a vow to not make that mistake again.
Well, yeah, and something, and I could be wrong about that. I don't think that she comes back to haunt him specifically after that.
No, she doesn't.
She comes back, but again, not solely for
His girlfriend
Ash.
comes back?
Yeah.
Not after he cuts his hand off.
At all?
I don't think so. I'm
No.
pretty sure she's down
Yeah.
for the count.
Okay, so let's say
Because as soon as he cuts his hand off and he shoots it and it sprays the blood, that's when the other people show up.
okay.
You know what movie has the same theme?
What?
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
Yeah,
We
we
watched
watched
it
it
last
last
night.
night.
Without me?
You were in fucking bumfuck Tennessee, goddammit, or
I was in
wherever the
Huntsville.
fuck.
That's a completely different
Bumfuck
state.
Alabama.
Hey, you could have stayed here. You chose
Yeah,
not
you
to.
Yeah, but
we
like,
actually hang out all day yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
I know. I saw videos and I was thinking, wow, they always plan when I'm gone to hang out without me.
Hey, you are the one that left, not us.
We'll hang out, Kyle. We'll hang out tomorrow. We got 2 films tomorrow.
Yeah, that's not hanging out.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I was planning on hanging out
That's noon to 9.
with
like
people
work, baby.
regardless. So, and you just weren't here. So,
Yeah. Okay. Sure. I said, "Hey guys, I'm gonna be gone on Saturday." They said, "Time to hang up." Time to hang up.
No.
you left, not us.
Look, your mom left. What time
She
we at?
did.
Shang-Chi.
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 Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I
It
like
was
Snake
okay.
Eyes too.
It was.
I'd probably give it a 7.5.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
just
that's
7.
fair. That's fair.
So
It
it
was.
was-
I
We
was-
can can talk about this later.
Okay.
But for
it was
now,
better than I expected.
It's better than Black Widow.
yes.
I would say, yeah.
Okay, well then I'm already sold.
Another thing I want to talk about specifically. Number one, Farewell to Arms. I mean, that's just a funny gag.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But I looked up what it was. It is Ernest Hemingway. Okay. And it was about... What the fuck did I write? Oh. It
Words.
was a memoir of an American ambulance in Italy, World War II. And the purpose of it was the same kind of purpose as the Red Badge of Courage, where it was kind of moving into this de-romanticism of war. So, I'm not sure how that plays in to...
I don't know. I hate to say it. I think that was just a sight gag. I don't know if that had
there are a
any
lot
deeper
of-
meaning.
I mean, I could make something. I could stretch it right quick.
I'm sure you could, yeah.
Because, like, we could say the de-romanticism of the slasher genre,
Yeah, because
was
he
kind
has
of
to kill his own girlfriend. You know,
absurdifying
which
it.
doesn't happen really in any other slasher films. That I would say that happens a lot in more possession films.
Yeah.
But, yeah, something like that.
Well, the absurdicizing, if that's a word,
Yeah.
of the slasher genre.
I'm sure that is not, but we can make it.
Um,
Coined it.
Coined it. Every time someone says it, you owe me $1.
Now.
I swear to fucking God, if you don't give me my goddamn money every time you say the word absurdicizing, I will cut your toes off one by one.
He will absurdicize your toes.
$1.
Dollar.
Oh shit, I don't have one.
All right, give me your... give me your toes.
Give me your
Give me your toes.
Give
There
him.
you go. That was a real dollar that I gave him.
He said my word.
He said my word. Now we can afford 1/4 of Wildwood, like food.
You mean
It's
one...
$1. It's 4 quarters, you dumbass.
No. No.
No.
No. I'm too weak,
$1
Anakin.
if you get that reference.
I'm too weak, Anakin.
Oh, he gets the reference. You need the dollar back.
I didn't hear it.
You made the reference.
Also, I didn't agree to that. You didn't coin that. I coined absurdicize.
It's not a coin, it's $1.
I only have 2 things else written. I think it's interesting the demons want life.
I was about to say that. Shut up.
Okay.
So,
Jake, do you have anything else to add? Is there another point?
I already said I did.
No, I was.
I'm gonna absurdicize you.
I was
leaning
gonna
into
say.
to say it.
So they have a quote.
Okay.
They're floating and they're going like, and they say, "We are the things that were and shall be again." And then they say, "We live too."
Yeah.
So they want life, but also like they already kind of are alive.
Well, they're in like this in between state because it's like another dimension that this monster thing lives in, and it essentially wants life. Which the question is, why do you want life? I mean, there's the obvious like answer. If you're a demon, like you just want life so that you can more accurately spread misery on Earth, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe not accurate, more effectively spread misery on Earth. But I think it's just interesting that all these like spiritual beings, like in anything, their goal is always to like get a physical body and to live on Earth, right? Now they could have ulterior motives that are,
Right.
more awful, but I think it's interesting because there's certainly in our culture today like a hate, I would say, of like the physical woes of Earth, right? Without any sort of appreciation for, let's say, creation, right?
Careful, please.
Because in all other religions beyond the Judeo-Christian religion, the idea of creation as good is completely and utterly incomprehensible. There's not, and I could be wrong on this, but I do not believe there is a single other major world religion that says that physical being and creation is actually a good thing. And that's something that would rock your world if you read Genesis 1 and you were like, what? There is one God? What? Are you crazy? And then he said, hey, all this stuff that I made, every time I made something, it's good. They'd be like, wait, the world's good? What are you talking about? We're just chaos shit, or serpent shit living on a chaos creature's corpse. Like, how is the world good? Well, that's how the Mesopotamians saw it. But I mean, it's just interesting that like this kind of reinforces that the fact that life is good. It is a good thing to be alive, and it has its woes and it has its miseries. But I think it is better to be alive than to not be. So.
But if you're
we made a documentary about that.
but if you're undead, then you're still alive.
No.
No, you're just undead. We made a documentary about it. Link in the description.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's about all I gotta say.
Oh,
Yeah.
very last thing I was gonna say. I think it's interesting that the movie's horrors start with speech, and they are ended with speech.
Our words give life to the evils.
Yes, but they also save us,
Yes,
and I think that's an interesting concept.
because words have power.
Whether you consider the king god Marduk, who had eyes all around his head and spoke magic words and defeated the evil sea serpent Tiamat, or if you think of God creating the world just through speech, or if you think of Harry Potter, who created magic through words. He has to speak. I mean, I know they like in later ones that they don't have that, but that's the premise, is that you have to speak. That is something known to Westerners specifically, but I would even alter to say mankind in general, that speech can damn us, but damn it, it can save us.
Did you just come up with that?
Yeah,
that was
pretty good.
beautiful.
Thank you. 2 for 2.
But damn it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what they say? The speech is mightier than the sword.
The sword.
Well, explain this then, Kyle. Why is it the bone sword that kills people? It does have a skull on it. The skull! I forgot about that. The necklace, when he picks it up, when he's
Yeah, it
like,
looks like a skull.
It looks like a skull.
Yeah.
And you know what skulls have?
Which that could just be like a reminder of death.
You know what skulls have?
What?
Mouths. and what the mouths do.
Speak!
They speak.
Unless you're mute. But no, as far as the sword thing, I don't know. Again, I haven't seen Army of Darkness, which is a shame, but it's just not on any streaming service that I can find.
Shame-chi.
But it's possible that they could go into that a little bit more. I just don't know.
It's like Shang-chi.
Shang-Chi.
But
Shang-chi.
yeah. I mean, I said all of that I wanted to say.
Yeah.
All right.
So did I.
Soda. Soda.
Ready or not scale.
This is a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, 4 out of 5.
It is a 4 out of 5. Why is it 4 out of 5?
I would just say that not enough people's heads exploded for it to be a 5 out of 5. Because not everybody. 5 out of 5 means everybody exploded.
True. So 4 out of 5. There you go.
4 out of 5 because plenty of people do.
Look, and you know what? Look at that. We agree on it easily.
Yeah, for the first time maybe.
For the first time in a long time now.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Shang-chi.
For the past 2 minutes, I've been thinking about the rap.
Okay. He goes, tortillas, lettuce.
It's gonna be a
Supremo.
weird one.
Chicken Supreme. All right.
Twitter, Pacino Pod. Tweet us.
Yeah, and if you can't type that,
You okay?
fuck you.
You okay?
Yeah, send that face.
Yeah. Subscribe if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube.
To the YouTube channel.
Yes.
Al Pacino's
do
Prison
that,
Scene.
please.
Thank
you.
And if you don't want to watch on here, then follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.
Spoofy.
Email pacinopodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your history with the Evil Dead series.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear
do you
about
like
it.
them?
And any recommendations for future movies to cover.
Yes, please.
Yeah, look out next week.
Just be
Next
a fan
week,
base. God damn it.
Next week is Halloween. We're going to be looking real spicy for all you Shaggy Goose Egg
Oh God,
boys.
he said it. That means we have to do it. He said it on camera.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready. All right.
All right. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Necronomicon, Comic Con, Kamikaze. I'ma crash and burn like ash as a zombie. Wait, I'ma crash and burn all of these burgers and fries. I'ma burn them like 5 guys, but it's 4 guys now because one of them died. But I tried to bring him back, but he didn't survive. I didn't survive. My hand did not. I chopped it off and I replaced it with a chainsaw. I sawed off a shotgun and I shot a nun. But that's a different movie franchise. I got none franchises cause my budget depleted. Now I'm gonna go and take a shit on a seat. Wait. Yeah.
That's for sinking. No, I'm not clapping. Stout and Saurkraut.
Stout and Saurkraut.
Stout and Saurkraut.
Sauerkraut.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Stout and Saurkraut.
Stout and Sauerkraut, Peter.
Stout and Saurkraut,
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter. Hey, Peter. Hey, Peter.
That sounded like Jimmy from South Park.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter. Peter Parker. Hey.
Hey, Peter. Stout and Saurkraut. Oh!